उत्तर प्रदेश की చెందినటువంటి पनकूरी पाठक जी पनकूरी पाठक जी PANKHURI पनकूरी पाठक जी ఆల్ ఇండియా కాంగ్రెస్ కమిటీ అధ్యక్షులు శ్రీ మల్లికార్జున ఖార్గే గారి యొక్క ఆదేశాల మేరకు జనరల్ సెక్రటరీ ఇన్ఛార్జ్ కేసీ వేణుగోపాల్ గారు అదేవిధంగా మీడియా డిపార్ట్మెంట్ ఇన్ఛార్జ్గా ఉన్నటువంటి జయరాం రమేష్ గారి యొక్క డైరెక్షన్స్ మేరకు ఒక స్పెషల్ బ్రీఫింగ్ ఇవ్వడం కోసం ఢిల్లీ నుంచి వారు వచ్చారు. సో నౌ ఐ రిక్వెస్ట్ పాఠక్ జీ టు అడ్రస్ ద మీడియా కాన్ఫరెన్స్.
Thank you. Good morning and thank you all for being here today. This is a special press conference on the issue of the Women Reservation Bill, and we are having such press conferences across India. As you know, the Congress Party has supported the Women's Reservation Bill with all its strength in the Parliament. However, there are some issues that need to be addressed and discussed, and some facts that need to be told to the common man and women of this country. So I would like to briefly talk about the journey of the Women's Reservation Bill. In 1989, the then Prime Minister, Sri Rajiv Gandhi ji, introduced a law reserving 33% of seats in the local bodies for women. When the bill was introduced, the stalwarts of the BJP like L.K. Advani ji, Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, Ram Jethmalani ji, Yashwant Singh ji opposed and voted against the bill. The bill was passed in the Lok Sabha but failed in the Rajya Sabha by only 7 votes. In 1992, during the government of Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao, the 73rd and the 74th amendment to the Constitution were passed, which reserved 1/3 of the seats for women in Panchayati Raj institutions and in the urban local bodies. The seats were also reserved for women within the quotas for scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and OBCs in several states. Today, the vision of Sri Rajiv Gandhi ji has led to the empowerment of around 15 lakh women across India, which is 40% of the elected representation in India in the local urban bodies and local bodies. In 2010, during the UPA government, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh introduced the Women's Reservation Bill. It was passed in the Rajya Sabha on March 9th, 2010. However, because of lack of consensus, it could not be passed in the Lok Sabha. The bills introduced in the Rajya Sabha do not lapse. Hence, the Women's Reservation Bill remains very much active. In 2016, Congress President Srimati Sonia Gandhi ji demanded that Modi ji passes the Women's Reservation Bill in the Lok Sabha. On the occasion of Women's Day in the year 2016, she wrote a letter to the Prime Minister and asked him to pass the Women's Reservation Bill, ensuring that women get their due and their representation. She again wrote to the PM in 2017 and she said, "I am writing to request you to take advantage of your majority in the Lok Sabha to get the Women's Reservation Bill passed in the lower house as well. The Congress has always and will continue to support this legislation, which will be a significant step forward towards the empowerment of women." So as you know, the government has a majority. So since the very beginning, we have been pitching for the passage of this bill, which we could not pass due to a lack of majority in the House during the UPA government. In 2018, Congress President Rahul Gandhi ji also wrote to PM Modi. And he wrote, "I write to you to request your support to ensure the passage of the Women's Reservation Bill in the upcoming monsoon session of the Parliament." So this was back in 2018, where he wrote that the bill should be taken up in the upcoming monsoon session. He also wrote that, as you are aware, the Women's Reservation Bill passed by the Rajya Sabha on the 9th of March 2010 has been stalled on one pretext or the other in the Lok Sabha for over 8 years now. When this bill was passed in the Rajya Sabha with the support of the BJP, The then leader of the opposition, Arun Jaitley ji, called the passage of the bill historic and momentous. Since then, while the Congress has been unwavering in its commitment to the bill, the BJP appears to have had second thoughts, even though this was one of its key promises in its 2014 manifesto. So even though the BJP had promised women's reservation in the 2014 manifesto, it took them 9.5 years to really have any kind of discussion or to take any further steps on it. The Congress implemented reservation for women in local bodies without having a majority. So when it was implemented, we didn't have a majority. We passed the women's reservation in the Rajya Sabha without having a majority. Then why did the Modi government not implement the women's reservation bill for 9.5 years, despite the BJP having a full majority? Why is this government imposing conditions of census and delimitation as a delaying tactic? Now we know that though this bill has been passed and the Congress has supported it, we don't know when it will really come into effect. It could be 2029, or according to some parliamentarians of the ruling BJP, it could even be as late as 2039. So basically, this is like a carrot that has been dangled in front of the women of this country, but we really don't know when this bill will become a reality. Another issue that we need to talk about is the issue of the caste census. It was the Congress-led UPA government that first conducted a socio-economic and caste census in 2011-2012. The Modi government has refused to release the results, even after 9.5 years after it was conducted. In addition, the Modi government has blocked the caste surveys carried out by states like Bihar and I understand by Andhra Pradesh as well. During the Bharat Jodo Yatra, Sri Rahul Gandhi ji met OBC groups in different states who demanded a caste census, and he has supported their demand. In the 85th plenary Raipur resolution, Indian National Congress committed to conducting a socio-economic caste census along with the decennial census. The caste census shall also enumerate denotified tribes and nomadic tribes. So I would like to repeat the statement of Rahul Gandhi ji on this aspect. He said, caste census is the basis for giving proper representation to every class. The deprived have the right. He asked the Prime Minister that the underprivileged need political and economic power, not empty words. He has asked the Prime Minister to take the following 3 steps. The first is to make the figures of the 2011 census public and tell us how many OBCs are there in the country. And this is a major demand of all the backward caste groups across the country in every state. Second is to remove the 50% cap on reservation. And third is to give reservation to Dalits, tribals according to population. On 16th April 2023, Congress President Sri Mallikarjun Kharge wrote to Prime Minister Modi demanding an up-to-date caste census. However, Prime Minister Modi has not replied till date. The Congress has promised to conduct a caste census in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh. Meanwhile, Bihar has informed the Supreme Court of their completion of caste census. The Samuhik Sankalp of 26 Party of the India Alliance demanded a fair hearing for all socially, educationally, and economically backward communities by implementing caste-based census as a first step. We also want to discuss the issue of women atrocities because there's a debate going on, women representation and women's reservation. So there's another important issue which is about the women atrocities, where we have seen the BJP MPs, the parliamentarians from the BJP, the very empowered women MPs of the BJP, they have either been quiet, they have not spoken a word, or they have given their silent support to the perpetrators of these heinous crimes. BJP leaders, especially the women MPs, have been silent on many gruesome crimes against women. Often, BJP has actually given political support to these criminals who are accused of crimes against women. Not even one woman MP from the ruling party has uttered a word on the atrocities faced by women in Hathras, Kathua, Uttarakhand, or Manipur. Every one of us has seen the shameful video that came from Manipur, the viral video, but in spite of the outrage in India and abroad, the women MPs of the BJP could not talk about it, they could not condemn the incident, and they could not ask their government to take corrective measures and to provide justice to those women. None of the BJP MPs spoke about the 8-year-old girl in Kathua, Kashmir, who was drugged, gang raped for a week, and murdered. The BJP MPs remained silent in the case of rape and murder of the then Unnao MLA, Kuldeep Singh Sengar, the case of rape and murder by the Unnao MLA, which was back in 2019. The MLA was found guilty of rape and murder. He was not even accused, he was found guilty. But none of the women leaders of the BJP uttered a single word. He not only raped a woman, he nearly killed her entire family, including her father, her uncle, and her aunt. After the brutal murder of the victim's father, uncle, and aunt, BJP colleagues visited the MLA Sengar's house and glorified the family. The BJP MP remained silent when Chinmay Anand, another of their leader, was accused of sexual harassment in Shahjahanpur in 2020. You would remember the case of a 19-year-old girl who was brutally raped and murdered in UP's Hathras, in which the police cremated the body of the victim without informing the family or without taking their consent. At that time, Rahul ji and Priyanka ji fought for the victim, and they were stopped at UP border. They were not allowed to enter, and they were even manhandled. So the Congress party has continuously been fighting wherever we see there is injustice and atrocities against women, while none of the female MPs of the BJP are ever seen to say a single word during such atrocities. We have faith that India's future MPs will not stand silent like today's BJP MP. So whenever in the future women get reservation, we are hopeful that they will speak up for other women who look up to them, who they represent, and they will not stay silent like today's BJP MPs. And they will speak out when they see injustice and crime against women. They will put pressure on their parties and governments to prosecute sexual predators and to condemn rape being used as a political tool, as happened recently in Manipur. Because the women MPs of the ruling party have completely betrayed the women of India through their silence and complicity in crime against women, we are hopeful that in future, when women get their due share, more and more women MPs will talk about issues pertaining to women and will help in getting them justice. So this is about today's press conference. If anyone has any questions relating to this particular issue, you can ask them. So I see no questions. Everyone is satisfied and in support of the Women's Reservation Bill. Thank you.
ఓకేనండి థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్ కాంగ్రెస్ కమిటీ